Let's talk about Yonder today. They're basically a relatively new reward credit card in the UK, and they piqued my interest for a couple of reasons. First of all, the reward credit card market in the UK is dominated by a few big companies such as Amex, so having a new player there is exciting in itself. But secondly, Yonder claims that their reward credit card is better than Amex. That's a pretty bold claim, and it's also kind of hard to verify because Yonder works differently than Amex, where instead of giving you cashback or airline miles, they have a concept of experiences, which is basically a bunch of businesses and shops where you can redeem your points. So like I said, I got curious, so I did some research and I also used the Yonder card for a month, and today I'm gonna tell you all about it. Here's how we're gonna structure this video. First, I'll give you some basic information about the Yonder card and its benefits and the two membership tiers that they have. Then we'll talk about the more interesting part about the reward points, how you earn them and how much money they can save you. And finally, I'll give you my personal opinion on Yonder and how they compare to the competition such as Amex, Barclaycard and whatnot. So with that, let's get started. Yonder is basically a free credit card, at least they have a free membership option, and it has all the basic benefits that any other UK credit card would have, such as helping you build and maintain your credit score, as well as giving you Section 75 protection on your purchases. If you want to learn more about that, I do have a dedicated video that I'm gonna link down below in the description. But on top of the basic stuff, since this is a reward credit card, you'll also be earning 1 Yonder point for every pound that you spend, and we'll talk later about how much these points are actually worth. Also, something that's quite unusual for UK credit cards, Yonder does not charge foreign transaction fees, which means you can use it to pay for stuff abroad, let's say on vacation. And not only that, but you can also withdraw up to £150 per day from ATMs for free when abroad. So I would say this seems like a pretty good card to have with you when you are traveling. And if you want a bit more out of your credit card, Yonder also has a paid option, or a full membership as they call it, which costs £15 a month or £180 a year. And on the full membership, instead of getting just 1 Yonder point per pound, you get 5 Yonder points for every pound that you spend on the credit card, which does sound like a lot, but before you start thinking about ditching your Amex card in favor of Yonder, just bear in mind that we yet have no idea how much these Yonder points are actually worth in real money. Secondly, on top of the increased earning rate, the full membership also gives you free comprehensive travel insurance that covers yourself, your partner and your dependents when they're traveling with you, and it even includes car hire access. And finally, as a paid member, you will get a couple of additional ways to redeem your Yonder points that people on the free membership don't have access to. And I almost forgot, but with the paid membership, you also get a welcome bonus of 10,000 membership. Okay, I'm too used to reviewing Amex cards. You get a welcome bonus of 10,000 points, Yonder points, when you sign up, and you don't actually have to spend any specific amount of money to trigger it. You basically get the points as soon as you open your account or as soon as you've made your first transaction. So those were the basics about the card, and now it's time for the elephant in the room, which is how do you actually spend the Yonder points and how much are they worth? So we'll explore two cases. One is the theoretical best case scenario, which Yonder advertises, and second is I'm gonna share how much value I got by redeeming Yonder points over the past month. So when it comes to spending Yonder points, if I go to the Experiences tab of the app, I can see there are a bunch of businesses that Yonder has partnered with to allow me to redeem my points, and there is a mixture of big and small ones, like there is Uber, there is Apple, but there are also a lot of offline experiences like restaurants and bars. And anytime I shop with any of these businesses and I use my Yonder card to pay for it, I get a notification in the app saying, hey, by the way, you can use your points to cover this transaction partially or fully. So for example, I used a little bit under 2,500 points to make a recent Uber ride £11 cheaper. But let's actually look at this number a little closer. So when you're redeeming points on experiences, each point is worth up to 0.47p, which on the free plan, when you're earning 1 Yonder point per pound, is equivalent to getting 0.47% cashback, or on the paid plan, this is equivalent to getting 2.35% cashback just because you're earning 5 times more Yonder points per pound spent. And then you can boost this cashback figure further, because when you spend money with experiences, i.e. the select merchants, you also earn up to 5 times more points compared to all other purchases, which means that on the free plan, you could be earning up to 5 points per pound when spending on experiences, or on the paid plan, up to 25 points per pound. And then if you turn around and use those points again on experiences, you could be effectively getting a cashback rate of over 2% on the free plan and over 10% on the paid plan. But the problem is, this is the theoretical absolute best case scenario. And in order to achieve these figures, you'd have to be spending your money with very specific merchants. And looking through my experiences tab, actually very few of them offer the highest advertised redemption rate of 0.47p per point. And moreover, these offers do rotate, so for example, the Uber deal is only valid until mid-March, and I don't know what other offer will appear to replace it. So that brings us to a question of how much would a real person in real life actually save by using these points? Unfortunately, I don't have a precise answer for you, but I do have my limited personal experience. So over the month of February, I redeemed a total of 10,380 Yonder points, and that saved me around £33, which is equivalent to 0.33% cashback on the free plan and 1.6% cashback on the paid one. And to be clear, I did not optimize for value in any way, I just redeemed every time I had a chance. And if instead I had put in an effort the same way I put in effort when spending my Avios, I probably would have been able to average maybe 0.45p per point. What about some other ways to spend your points though? Well, if you're on the free plan, then spending on experiences is the only way to redeem points, but on the paid plan, things get a little bit more interesting. Firstly, you can use your points to cover airline transactions, and that means any purchases that you make directly on airline websites. The redemption rate though is going to be currently 0.16p per point, which is equivalent to 0.8% of cashback given that you earn 5 points per pound. And I'm saying currently because it seems like in the past it used to be higher, but now they have this message in the app that says that they're exploring different redemption rates for the points, which essentially means they are trying to still figure out how much discount they can afford to give. And then the final way to spend your points on the paid plan is use them to cover your statement balance, which is basically equivalent to converting them into cash and using it to pay off your credit card bill. In this case though, the redemption rate is going to be just 0.1p per point, and that's equivalent to 0.5% cashback, which is a relatively standard figure across the industry. So those were the reward points. And now, what do I actually think about Yonder? Do I think that they're really better than Amex? Well, the thing is, with airline miles or Amex membership reward points, in order to get the maximum value out of them, you need to spend them on travel, which means looking at different flight or hotels options, searching for reward availability, basically putting in effort to get good value. With Yonder though, it's the same thing. It's just instead of looking at airline and hotels websites, you have to look through your experiences tab, you have to plan your spending strategically and shop with specific merchants in order to achieve good value. But between the two, I would personally prefer the airline miles because there you don't really have a cap on how much value you can get out of them, whereas with Yonder, while you definitely can optimize your redemptions, there is a set ceiling of 0.47p per point and you cannot currently get more than that. Having said that though, I do think that the Yonder card does have its market because the same way that I am passionate about travel and flights and stuff, there are people who are passionate about other kinds of experiences. For example, imagine that you are very much into like food and restaurants and you find an amazing restaurant on the experiences tab on Yonder and it offers 5x points for spending. So you go there, you have a great time, you earn 5x points, and then you turn around and you use those points on another restaurant on the experiences tab or the same restaurant, and this time you redeem the points to reduce your bill, and let's say that restaurant does offer 0.47p per point, and that way you are effectively getting over 10% cashback if you are on the paid plan. But the thing is, this is not guaranteed to happen. And then finally, Yonder does do a couple of things right, and it's impossible to deny that. First of all, there is the fee-free spending abroad, which means that even on the free plan, you spend with your credit card, you are not getting charged any foreign transaction fee, and bear in mind that some places do specifically require that you use a credit card, and then you're still getting the 1 Yonder point per pound that you could eventually redeem for a value of up to 0.5% cashback. And then the other thing I was really impressed with is their mobile app experience. Like starting from signing up, minutes later, I already had the virtual card in my phone with the credit limit that I was able to add to my Google Pay wallet and start paying with it right away. It's just a complete opposite of the Amex app, for example, and I think it's hands down the best mobile app experience that I've ever seen for a credit card so far. So all in all, for my personal situation and plans, I think I'm gonna keep the free version of the Yonder card and I'm gonna make it my go-to card for spending abroad. At least that's the current plan. And by the way, if you want to learn more about the credit card and debit cards that I use in order to earn points and cashback, then check out this recent video that I made about my credit card and debit card strategy for 2025. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.